Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. We have mostly new, kind of in theaters films, if you can catch them in the right spot here. We are covering Nuremberg. That's directed by James Vanderbilt. Came out a few months ago, but yet still in some theaters. We then have a Sentimental Value, directed by Joachim Trier. And then No Other Choice. That's directed by Park Chan-wook. And again, you might be able to find that in some theaters near you. It doesn't have a wider release until in a couple weeks. So let's get Vincent Daly in the room as we close out 2025, all of our films for the year. And let's hear what he has to say about these three. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Let's get him in here. Vincent Daly, how we doing, buddy?
Thomas, how's it going?
It's going okay with me. We're closing out 2025.
Yeah, this is our awards catch-up. Probably maybe a few other international picks could have made it into the cut here, but I feel like this is rounding off the year.
It basically is. I mean,
yeah, and you and I have been on the same page for 2025 for sure.
Yeah, I have a small list going that I think I'll talk about in the Tom Dailies next week of what we didn't cover, why we didn't cover it, but for the most part, we are doing the best we possibly can. If you would have saw Vin and I just doing what we could to watch No Other Choice.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are going above and beyond. God knows how many viruses we have on both our computers just trying to get this damn movie watched. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was really something else. I mean, I'll say it in the review. It's exactly on the same page as The Brutalist, though, last year.
Yes.
Where it's like, these are heavily, heavily praised movies. They come out at the very tail end of the year, and I mean, and unless we get to the point that we can get like screeners across the board for anything that's coming to the theaters, we don't have the opportunity to get to them.
And that's the thing, because when something gets released, something comes out Christmas. Well, there's a big difference of Marty Supreme coming out on Christmas, which is in the vast majority of movie theaters. 3,000 plus theaters. 4,000 plus even. And there's a big difference of this is coming out on the 25th, but it's in 12 theaters or 6 theaters. And that's very common for some of these movies, and it's very annoying. Brutalist, we had way better luck with last year. It was actually playing in a handful of theaters that we could actually drive to. And it wasn't Center City or something like that in a tiny
art house stereo.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, with Brutalist, there was a degree of like we wanted to see it on like proper screens.
We did see it on for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, we got it done. We got it done, or at least I got it done. I think, like you said, Tom, before the episode, you watched Nuremberg, and then we saw Sentimental Value together.
Correct. Watch those two.
No Other Choice fell by the wayside.
I found the link for No Other Choice. Watched it through a little bit just to be like, okay, this is a healthy link.
Right.
And by the time you and I sat down, link was dead. It didn't work. We searched again, could barely find anything, and then that was it. But yeah, Nuremberg and Sentimental Value I watched. I said, Nuremberg came out a few months ago. I want to say coming out of summer it came out.
Yes, maybe somewhere around. I was trying to think if it was November or October or when exactly we skipped over it. But
might have been October, maybe even late September, October-ish.
Yeah.
But basically, it has been puttering around in movie theaters. Even last week I looked, it was still playing in theaters somewhat kind of near us. It had that very soft kind of few theater release, and because it was getting some sort of buzz, at least for Russell Crowe's performance, it's just sticking around. But regardless, that's on VOD. That's on video on demand right now, so you can rent it, which is what we did. And then same with Sentimental Value. We rented that, which is great, even though that is still in theaters. Like that's playing closer to us than No Other Choice is, technically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I think a lot of these movies, they're going to get a little bit of lifespan in theaters. I think Hamnet is a great example of that. especially coming off of some of the award wins.
That
and
already
whatnot.
got that. Hamnet already survived in the theaters longer than it should have.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that's good opportunity for all of you to check out the movies. At least for us trying to be timely, it's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But we got it done. We got it done.
And when they're mass available, it's kind of nice because when they're mass available, everyone can check them out.
Right.
We're not late to the. We're actually trying to be ahead of the game. At least we're not behind it.
Exactly.
But you're right. Once when the actual Oscar list comes out, they do this strategically. They release these films in a certain amount of way, and then if those Oscars come out and they know that they're on the list, that's when they can pump it out. And like Brutalist survived in the theaters for a while.
Yeah,
it's a strategy. It's just it's 12 months. The movie.
It's not in 2025, I don't want to hear about it in 2026.
I don't feel bad at all for studios because it's studios are dead and Netflix is going to buy this and what are we going to do and yada yada. But it's also like, well, when you act like there's only 4 months in the year, when there's actually 12. I don't know. Maybe it's not us, the populace, to get mad at. Maybe it really is you.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. So next week we are doing the Tom Dailies, our wrap-up show.
Yes.
And our big award show. They're kind of a year in review for 2025. Highly excited for that. And then the week after that, we're actually going to talk about what's coming out in 2026. We usually fold that into the Tom Dailies, but it's going to be a long enough segment where that is a full episode.
Yeah, and there's enough content in 2026 to kind of talk about, whether it be like franchise stuff leading up to it or just like, unique movie ideas that are coming down the pipeline. I think it's also good because honestly, that gives us a lot of real estate to see what is actually worth returning to in January, in Dumpuary.
Yeah.
So I'm excited just to actually not be first to the punch on those movies and just kind of let the dust settle a little bit, and we'll see what's actually worth, making it to an episode.
And I gotta say, I've already been saying 2026 already looks better than 2025, and not in a small way. To the fact that I'm actually getting excited and. Listen, not that we don't enjoy doing this podcast, but I'm kind of like, I'm glad we're doing the daily ratings in the year 2026.
Absolutely.
I am kind of getting pumped for it. So very excited to go through those films. And, okay, other than that, Vin, opening notes or what?
I guess, I mean, we don't want to focus on each of the award shows that are coming down the pipeline, but we are right after Critics' Choice. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on Timmy?
No, not really.
Yeah? Any upsets?
No, I didn't pay attention to. I mean, I saw some headlines on things, but
I don't have much substance either. I was hoping you're going to tear into it a little bit.
No, I guess my tearing into was I care so little about what the Critics' Choice Awards has to say.
Well, easy. That might be our real estate one day. That might be our award show one day.
No, we have our award show, and it's next week. The Tom Dailies is where it's at.
Imagine the Tom Dailies actually having celebrities show up to it.
Listen.
Something else. And we still do like the games and shit, like the fake awards.
I got a good game brewing for this one.
He has been talking up this game. I can't wait.
I said it. I brought it like twice to you. I have nothing to say on Critics' Choice. I didn't even go through all the list, and I actually don't care too much. We take a lot of care and consider. You watch a lot of movies a year.
Yeah.
We sit down every single week together, and I kind of screw everybody else. Like, legitimately screw everybody else. We put hours, like tens of hours of work just into the one show.
Yep. Well, and we definitely talked about that as far as in years past, where like by the time the Oscars are all around in like March or whatever it happens, we're already moving on.
Moved on
moving on in a big way of like talking about what the films look like for the current year.
To what I was saying too about like the industry kind of shooting itself in the foot. I can't stand that the Oscars are in friggin' March of the next year. Listen, I mean, again, January and February are technically months of the calendar. So what better way to shoot yourself in the foot to be like, actually, we're not going to wrap up this year until 3 months from now in March.
Absolutely.
How am I supposed to care about January and February? Like, how's the industry supposed to care about those films? So again, they should have the Oscars at the beginning of February, max. And then if everybody's just like, what are we going to do all about the other award shows? It's like, well, maybe those don't actually matter. Okay?
Exactly.
I think that would help out movie theaters massively.
Yeah.
But, okay, I'm not going to get off my...
I get off
this is not what the episode
awards.
is about, folks.
Yeah.
It's about wrapping up 2025 movies. But no other notes, Vin? You want to get into it?
No, we can get right into it.
All right, so we'll start with Nuremberg first because technically that's been the one that's been out the longest.
Sure.
Starring Rami Malek and Russell Crowe. I'll just say that the reason why this one has been floating around, and I think I was pitching the hardest to do this, even back before it came out, was because people were talking up Russell Crowe's performance.
Right.
People were saying Crowe is back, where he's been doing not such great films for a little while here.
It's been a Crowe losing streak for a while now, it feels like.
And
ever since Unhinged or whatever the road rage movie back in COVID.
I do think there's a second Unhinged film coming out,
Oh,
but
great.
It does seem like Russell Crowe. There are some actors you get to feel like, let's just get some paychecks. I'm kind of out of I don't care as much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the weight gain and then just the paycheck films.
Yep.
You're like, what's going on? But people were talking about this one, so we figured we'll sit down and watch it. Now, how it came out in the wash, we're about to find out.
Yeah, we'll see.
But this is directed by James Vanderbilt, written and directed by James Vanderbilt. We have not covered a film of his yet, but he's not a no-name guy.
Yeah, he's mostly a producer. This is his second directorial movie directorial film, but mostly just in the producing space. I will say that's not a great sign, you know.
Well, right.
Actually, heading up the film takes a lot more than just knowing how the ins and outs work of a production to it. So I feel like, unfortunately, I mean, I'm not going to blame him too much, but I feel like the filmmaking was an aspect that was missing here.
Oh,
so,
big time.
Yeah.
Just real quick on the writing credit too. Like, he was a writer. He wrote the screenplay for Zodiac.
Oh, wow.
And he was on and then Murder Mystery and some of the Scream movies, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, White House Down. Not C listed movies. You know what I mean? Like, these all were things.
Yeah.
Zodiac too. Apparently, Zodiac is one of the best films of the century.
I do really love Zodiac.
So that's what we're dealing with. Anyway, he's directing Nuremberg. You get into it. We'll take it back and forth because I did watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like we've been saying, we really originally didn't get to this movie for some scheduling reasons. It just didn't come out there. But honestly, my interest here was fairly low, simply for how this looked like some good old-fashioned courtroom Oscar bait. Folks, my snark there comes from comparing this to another legacy Oscar winner, 1961's Judgment at Nuremberg, which is typically stands alongside other classics of that era. I want to say from like maybe 55 to early 60s, alongside classics like 12 Angry Men, To Kill a Mockingbird, as some of like the finest that courtroom dramas have to offer. But this movie really isn't about action in the courtroom, despite half of its runtime taking place in one. Instead, it's much more about the investigation work behind the scenes and a sort of psychological chess match that is played between patient and criminal. Nuremberg is based off of the 2013 book called The Nazi and the Psychiatrist and aims to examine the sway charismatic leaders have over their perception, especially when controlling the dynamic of who they influence. The story is obviously designed to cover the Nuremberg trials itself, prosecuting the remaining Nazi leadership post-World War II, but in the runtime, that is only after a meaty first half structured as more of like a psychological prison drama. Russell Crowe plays Hermann Göring, second in command and first on the chopping block as Hitler's reign comes to a close. Expecting a poison pill any day now, the military assigns Dr. Douglas Kelly, played by Rami Malek, a psychiatrist that is more than excited by the opportunity of a lifetime. Dr. Kelly and Göring's relationship swirls between indisputable crimes and genuine friendship that unexpectedly subverts the expectations of a man so clearly defined as a villain. Before the mother of all tribunals, though, Dr. Kelly must recognize the conflicted air of sympathy that surrounds his involvement while opening his eyes to the horrible truth unlike anything the world has ever seen. Let's lay something on the line here.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
We're already winding up. Especially since the 3 picks this week are mostly cleanup for award season. The praise this film has received has largely been for acting performances. Yet I think across the board, acting was what was lackluster, if not hurt the story the most for me. I think you're on the same page there.
Yeah, I mean, basically everybody, Rami Malek was really
Rough.
put this into the negatives, but it hurt the film. Rami Malek, I was shocked with just how disappointed I was with him and how much he brought the film down.
Yep.
Same thing with some other supporting actors. And the one thing I will say is I personally think that Russell Crowe's performance helped the overall performance of the film.
Okay.
I wasn't astounded.
Sure.
I don't think he should get an Oscar nomination.
Yep.
I don't think he should get a Tom Daly nomination, more importantly.
Right.
Get him off the list. He was better than maybe what we've seen him in the past recently. And I do think he made the film better, but not by a lot, and everybody else was damaging it.
Yeah.
Rami at number one position for that.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to Russell Crowe, I mean, I love Russell Crowe. I think he is a fantastic actor, but it's just yet another performance that I still think falls within his losing streak.
Do you think he was miscast, though?
I don't know.
I do think what it comes. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
it comes down to how was his accent? How was his German accent?
Exactly.
It was shockingly consistent.
Yeah,
and like not bad in my opinion.
Yeah, he speaks a lot of German here. I don't think he looks particularly like Goering.
Right, that's
especially during
the
the time of the Nuremberg trials.
Right,
but
it's Trump Crowe still.
Yeah, it's definitely still Trump Crowe. To the point that it's added into now the roles he takes. Like the Pope's exorcist, who's like that's a little bit more heavy set priest. Here is just like, oh well, he has to get in shape while he's in prison. It's
that scene where he's doing the push-up. It's like, okay, the director, yeah.
It's too much. They're making excuses for Russell, and that should not be the case. But even at our climax, I did think there was something lacking. This is definitely a case where expectation shot me in the foot a little bit. I was walking in expecting something. Considering the praise I heard specifically for him was that we got a Jack Nicholson, Few Good Men level performance. Yeah. I feel like that is specifically piece of praise shot me in the foot.
I'm glad I didn't hear that.
Yeah, right.
Because I would have been even more angry coming out of this.
Absolutely. And even to the point of kind of like waiting around for a bombastic moment in the trial itself, I was just on the hook waiting for it to happen. And then when it didn't, I was just like, oh, damn, like, what's going on here?
No, for sure. Which one, I'm glad I didn't hear that piece of it.
Yeah.
What I did hear also was this was heavy courtroom.
Yeah.
Which I'd like. You and I are very different in that. Like, give me the verdict, shoot it into my veins, please. I'm cool with courtroom drama.
Yeah.
I was almost excited for it. So when we got such a small amount of courtroom, and it was really the psychiatrist and patient story within the cell and his holding and everything like that, that already was kind of my side-eyeing the film a little bit. That was my disappointment.
Absolutely.
And if you are expecting a you can't handle the truth moment, it's not even trying to be that.
Exactly. It's not even in the scope of what this is going after. It's trying to be a match of wits between Malek's character and Crowe's character and kind of examine the nature of how you're swayed by that. I think that there is also some substance there. I don't fault this movie being made because I feel like in the book form of this, that's probably pretty compelling. And I feel like there is a lot of real estate there to create something interesting with tones and themes, but
it just needs to be at the hands of a better director.
Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, I'm saying that.
Exactly.
And maybe a different casting.
Yeah, and that different casting definitely is pointed at Rami Malek's inclusion. More than a bit more damaging on this film, and definitely plays into, again, some poor filmmaking decisions by our director. I'm not sure how you update a topic already this dusty. However, I do think some of the energy in this movie is misplaced. Also kind of just like soiling the whole thing that it's going after. The tone, or again, the energy is shown most of all in Rami Malek's acting. There is a plucky heroism to the film that I thought worked directly against its subject matter. I feel like initially the character's kind of patient-doctor relationship is presented as dangerously exciting, almost striking in the best-case scenario, almost striking a Silence of the Lambs type intrigue, where it's like, well, you have one person, we know they're bad, but we're drawn into them. But between every smirk, casual conversation, just Malick not being a great actor. And I can't believe I'm kind of flipping on that. I used to think Malick was like a great actor. I don't know if he's just lost it in the last few years. His acting starts to seriously ruin the atmosphere of the film, especially when the destination of the story is to show the audience, I'm not kidding, real Holocaust footage. I mean, this is a very grim topic that we're going towards. And I just feel like every ounce, every effort to make this fun or plucky, like I said, or, I don't know, have like a weird, kind of make the medicine go down rhythm to it, I feel like just like horribly misplaced on like where this is destined to go.
I think it's misplaced, and even down to the pacing of the film. Sometimes it's so quick it's not fitting.
Yeah,
it's not. This needs to be dark. We need to sit with it. We need to feel it.
Exactly.
And it's being way too light, way too often.
That's why I was sitting with this. I was like, well, I don't know how I particularly would suggest to you update something so by the books. We're not only dealing with, a real trial that people can look to in like a nonfiction way.
Right.
But on top of that, it's just like when we know what we're going to be shown eventually, it's just a total misplace of like, I don't think that's the destination. I don't know how you update the prospects of that, but
it's a tone and a tenor that's not earned. It's completely unearned when it finally happens.
Absolutely. And listen,
and it throws you out. It throws you off.
For sure. And listen, I'm not saying you have to present World War II or war overall in one specific way. I think we've honestly, over the course of the podcast, have covered a lot of great topics when it comes to war films. You can look at something like Best Years of Our Lives versus All Quiet on the Western Front as far as like pro and anti-war. Even like on an action piece, not that this film moves into that, but like Inglourious Bastards versus something like Fury, and how the tone kind of comes from the setting. Here, I think it unfortunately speaks volumes that the tone of this reminded me of something more like 2001's Pearl Harbor, and that is not a flattering comparison. That is not a good comparison I am making. Let's just be perfectly clear there. If I'm ever comparing to a Michael Bay film, you're in the dumper. You know what I mean? This is not good. But you get where I'm coming from on that, right?
Yes, there's
not just one way you do World War II, so I have no problem with them, switching things up a tiny bit, regardless about the Nuremberg trials.
Yes, but the failure of this at the end of all of it was, I think, poor directing.
Yeah,
it was. It just didn't have a good leader at the helm of this project, and for that, it appears confused. It doesn't know what direction quite it wants to go.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden, like you said, you're showing this very intense, dark Holocaust footage. Yeah. But then you have like Rami Malek popping a pill and being like, I'm a big fan. Like talking about the drugs and stuff like that. It's just things don't work. Even the shots themselves, or some even the staging and the movements, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And my thing is, it's like, if someone was trying to be Spielberg and failing basically in every single way, that's what the movie is.
That's a good point, because it's trying to charm you ultimately in the first half.
And you know what I mean by Spielberg is he can be lighthearted in certain ways. He can take heavy themes but get you through it.
Yep.
He has a softness to him, that boy through the eyes of a child type of movie making skills. This was that in the worst possible way. You know what I mean? And that's the shame of it.
Yeah. I think my hot take for this movie, though, is it made me think Rami Malek is not too far away from being like a Jared Leto in like that he might sink properties.
Easy. Let's not.
All right. Okay. Too much.
It's too much for right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We need to give him a yes.
The poison pill. Yeah, there's another cyanide capsule in this casting.
I was genuinely upset with him though. Watching this,
it was a little frustrating.
20 minutes in, I was like, "Oh no!"
It's so good. But folks, whether these performances are a deal breaker for you or not, I think there is a pretty clear divide between the nonfiction elements here and the experience the film wants to create. I think if this story was to tackle almost anything other than the Nuremberg trials, it would have come out better. But again, when the destination of this story is eventually going to be closely examining war atrocities, any brief fun it has feels misplaced. We're going to go ahead and give Nuremberg a 53.
Okay, 53%. I think that is...
I think this is a recommendation for the elderly person in your life that will consume every bit of military and World War II content there is. You know what I mean? I feel like there's no harm in watching it just for a different way to present Nuremberg trials, but for me, it was just like it is very little to recommend.
Yeah, I think there's other sources you can go to, and I think there's not. I almost think that 53 is maybe being fair.
Yeah,
I thought this was destined to be below 50, maybe in the 40s, because it's not failing completely.
Sure,
I just can't get over the fact that this is just kind of a disappointment.
Yeah,
and
right.
The funny thing is, I don't put it on Crow. I'm not walking out praising Crow.
No.
But the movie isn't worse because of him. And
he doesn't sink it.
And he can only do so much.
Yeah.
For something that seems a little bit amateurish, which I think, 53 actually, I think it represents a lot here.
Yeah.
To be honest about it. Now, it is 2.5 hours long as well.
Yeah.
And...
yeah, actually, how do you feel about the runtime? Because, like...
Well, I didn't think the movie was that good, so...
right. So it wasn't really justified either way.
A bit of a slog, but part of the storyline that the film is going, it almost needs to be that long. I have to say, part of the quickness of the film, especially with some of the Michael Shannon stuff, which, again, I love. I have really turned into a Michael Shannon guy.
Oh, that's great. Too bad you didn't like Shape of Water.
No, I couldn't. But, like, again, he was the best part of the Bike Riders.
Right.
Which, that came out last summer, right?
Yeah, maybe 2 ago. I don't know.
Isn't that crazy?
It's scary.
It feels like it was 5 months ago. Bike Riders came out.
Bike
But even when you look at Michael Shannon's characters, because he wasn't really the main focus, some of his scenes are extraordinarily quickened.
Yes. And
so it's like, okay, well, I guess they do have a lot of story to tell here, so I understand that they have to speed it up, in a certain way. Mm-hmm. But at that time, it's still 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
and yet we're still quickening things up. I just don't think it was delved out properly at all.
Yeah. I think
so the pace of it, I guess, necessary and yet disappointing.
Yeah. I think with Shannon specifically, I was interested in that portion of it because ultimately I'm kind of a history nerd. I want to see, like, what was behind the scenes of creating, the mother of all trials for this. So that's where I was kind of interested in, like, the history portion, but, like, everything else was just, I don't know.
I know.
You'd be better off with the documentary for sure. Or maybe even Trials at Nuremberg from 1961, which I haven't seen, but, Yeah,
maybe we'll tack it on. I wasn't even thinking about that one. Maybe we'll tack it on for next year.
Yeah.
But okay, all right, so that's 53% for Nuremberg. Let's jump on to a Norwegian film. It is getting some buzz. Like I said, it might be in a theater near you. It's called A Sentimental Value, directed by Joachim Trier. And we do have a couple familiar faces. It's not a completely, I was going to say, foreign film in a way that everything is like, why do I care about this?
Sure,
we see faces in here that we've seen before.
Yeah. There is some English speaking, as well. So it's like you're not thrown to the wolves.
Exactly right, for sure. Sentimental Value, you go ahead. Oh, original title.
Oh no. I'm worried about this pronunciation, actually.
Affection Veri.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I practiced before you came over.
Sounded like you should be in the Nuremberg trial.
Okay. Set the film up. We'll take it back and forth.
All right. Well, this comes from Joachim Trier, who's actually a distant relative to director Lars von Trier. And oddly enough, the first film from either of them to make it on the podcast. Lars, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, Lars von Trier, a much more controversial director. He has a wild filmography that God knows how we're going to navigate whenever we decide to tackle him. But Joachim's projects seem to surround mostly personal and much more emotional topics. 2015's Louder Than Bombs is a great example of kind of the type of devastating family drama he tries to craft. While also more recently, 2021's The Worst Person in the World shows that how he can take that same emotional arc and package it in different genres. That project also connects him with our lead actress. I'm going to struggle with all the names this week. Renette Reinsve?
Yeah.
And this is our girl that when we were watching it together, you said that she was from A Different Man from last year.
She played a role in that.
Yeah.
Just keep on going.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's about it. I do not have the balls to pronounce her sister.
Or we can just call her Inga.
Inga. Okay, there we go.
We share the same birthday, by the way. So if I ever meet her, icebreaker.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not gonna try that. I can't try that name.
That's
either.
what I'm telling you. I was just breaking a sweat looking at IMDb on this. Sentimental Value, though, is another great example of a slight switch up in his work while still kind of having the same center of his directing. At its core, it's a Norwegian family drama. I mean, welling up with a lot of emotional baggage, but also might work as a little bit more of a showbiz drama as well, with our characters involved either in acting or filmmaking. I say only a little bit of a showbiz drama. It's described as that, but I don't know. I didn't find a lot of substance in the topic of acting or the topic of filmmaking too much here. I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
I think I'll take this over Jay Kelly any day.
yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? Like, I do think there was some type of kind of inside baseball-y type of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true. Especially, like kind
Really
of the emotional process.
Wasn't the point of the film at all.
Right.
But they touched on it.
Yeah.
You know, they definitely, yeah.
Well, centered to this story is the generational home of Nora and Agnes, the two sisters processing the subtle, slow burn trauma of their childhood caused by their absent father, or in some cases, not really processing anything at all. It's kind of a slippery slope of failing to process that in a healthy way. Their father, Gustav, played by Stellan Skarsgård, becomes increasingly distant after divorcing their mother and only returns to their adult lives now that she has passed. It is revealed this home is equally painful for him, however, holding its own traumatic secrets and history of mental illness that looms over the family. While on the surface, having a father that's a beloved movie director and family still involved in stage acting might seem like a pretty easy life to bear. However, when Gustav starts a new project using the house as its setting, he uncovers personal scars that unpack the consequences of his absence in the lives he cares most for. I would say there's a couple of similar films that jumped out to both of us while watching. The first is definitely Robert Zemeckis' 2024 movie Here, with the setting of the story playing a character in itself. This house is definitely kind of a character in itself.
It's very big part of the film.
Yeah, I would just say it's just without all the gimmick and schmaltz of Here. So that's a positive mark. And even more recently, I mean, you said it right there just a moment ago. The narrative of how showbiz takes a toll on family life reminded me a lot of Jake Kelly, just without Adam Sandler wearing a stupid ascot.
Okay. Any chance you can. Any chance you can. Take the,
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I got to get my punches in on Sandler after last week's praise.
It's just like you're taking these uncut gems on the guy. It's totally uncalled for. If anything, go after Clooney on that film.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. At least Clooney was to blame for all the asinine ideas of meeting his daughter in Europe and whatnot. I mean, all the frustration was on Clooney's shoulders. This topic, though, of generational trauma being somewhat rooted in the home is core to the story, though, and present equally in each of our characters. I would say some of that trauma can be blamed on specific actions that create the drama between the daughters and their father. But I think the deeper parts of the story revolve around something inescapable, whether that be related to themes of mental illness or depression, or just, again, this kind of like welling up emotional baggage that's there in the story. And while we don't get as big of an arc to the home itself as we did in, the comparisons to Here. I mean, Here was like,
two different movies. Completely,
yeah, very different movies. Yeah, true. But we do definitely still see evidence of trouble dating back to the last century, and stylistically that is presented in the home transforming over generations. I think that was one thing I definitely did like about this movie. I like that we see the home physically transform a couple times, especially for the production of this film. But yeah, those comparisons and really the Jay Kelly one hit me after I was kind of going over my notes. I was like, oh my God, it's another one. Like
it's a Scandinavian Jay Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. Dad's not home because he's acting, and everyone likes him, but I don't like him. Now, in regards to the film's critical acclaim and really why it made the list this week is I think all four main performances are pretty good, especially Skarsgård, who had much more involvement than I think either of us expected.
There was a point in the film, Stellan Skarsgård is getting all kinds of buzz for supporting actor.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are talking about, it's going to be down to him and Sean Penn in One Battle After Another.
Mm-hmm.
And I had even said at one point in the film, I was just like, man, he's borderline main actor.
Yeah.
Because it's the film. I'll kind of branch off too and say that the film is structured very interestingly, where I'm not saying that we don't have an act 1, 2, and 3, but the way we get into our characters or how they're weaved in and out of the story surprised me, and surprised me in a positive way, because it kind of, not that it keeps you on your toes, but it was something a little bit different and unique, where Stellan Skarsgård all of a sudden comes in and is absolutely the supporting actor, and then all of a sudden it's just like, that's when I said, is this guy just the main character?
Right.
And you have this, again, the weaving in and out of these three main characters. I wouldn't expect that the sister got this big of an arc as she did, but she did. And so everyone's playing a pretty major role, and when the acting is good across the board and it's very dialogue and just kind of performance heavy and emotion, I can see why the film is being talked about at all. Here we are at the end of the year.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think my praise for the acting is that it really does avoid the cliches of bombastic performances, and it really goes for quiet contemplation.
Yes.
I feel like this is not a film that is going to hold your hand too much. You're just kind of left to process this, almost on the sidelines of what's going on in these characters' lives.
And I think maybe even to the defect of the film, I think the film is very true to what it's trying to be. But as far as an enjoyment level, I think mileage will vary.
Yes.
You know?
Because I think both of us are on the same page that we liked it, but we weren't like ecstatic with this movie.
It's hard to be ecstatic, in my opinion, about it.
Right.
I mean, I shouldn't say that.
Because these reserved performances, they're also not like really selling you on it either,
Well, the length of it did it too. I mean, again, the film's 2 hours and 13 minutes. It feels like it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I said to you, at the end of the film, it gets to a point. The emotion is so consistent throughout the film that I believe I said, shit or get off the pot. Have something happen, don't have it, end the film or something.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, the entire film is about being in that state of mind for the entire film.
Right.
Like the point of kind of it dragging on and maybe being boring at points, that is the point of the film. It wants you too steep in this.
Yeah.
I don't know, can you walk away being like, I just loved it? Because the performances were good, but were they that good? Yeah,
well, I think to your point about mileage may vary on it, I feel like it's how much the emotional core hits for you and how much you like maybe either, on a bad end, maybe wallowing or just kind of that self-reflection on a good end. I feel like a lot of time is spent in that self-reflection, especially around the time we can't get back in relationships. And I feel in a good way, even when the story moves beyond what kind of happened in the past or the bad blood of the past, the same lesson presents itself to remind our characters what's at stake. That they, if they don't mend their issues, they're just going to kind of fall back in the same spot. A lot of Skarsgård's other director friends or industry friends that he visits are all in the same place as him, and he kind of recognizes that misery in them, and he doesn't want them, that to happen to him or step backwards from the progress that he's making. I feel like as far as how that's visually presented, again, it's very quiet. It's contemplated.
Yeah.
I can't say I've nailed down Trier's directing trademark just from one film, but I can tell you this man loves a good stare down. The big stare down.
Yeah. The looks. There's many looks in the film.
Yeah.
And after 2 hours and 13 minutes, you're saying, all right, well, somebody do something here. You know what I mean?
A little bit. A lot of these scenes are just pure facial acting. I think, holding on long moments that let you contemplate what might be going on under the skin, that's all good marks. I feel like where this bridges maybe a little bit more positively as well as I did really like, I thought it was interesting that the one example we see of Skarsgård's, or Gustav's, I should say, hypothetical film is that it was basically a scene, what the scenes of the movies were, where he just holds on one character, and there's an ambiguousness to, what is the exact emotion on screen.
Yeah.
So I felt that was at least tight, tight as a tool to kind of set the tone of like what these characters are going to be doing for the next 2 hours. Folks, I think this is definitely a recommendation, though, especially if you have any interest in knocking off some foreign films that get lost in the shuffle year to year. But it isn't a particular strong recommendation, as I just did not walk away from this film stunned. Not that every film has to stun, but I feel we're definitely on the same page there when it comes like. I enjoyed my time.
Yep.
It is a recommendation. I can't really say it's bad.
Performances are good.
Right.
Yes.
But I'm not like enthusiastic
What
about
would
it.
be, before you give your score here, maybe what in this type of genre, the heavy, emotional, quite silent film, and a few just performances that are so integral to the story, what could maybe even... Like, is this Marriage Story, or is that too loud?
That's definitely on a whole other end of the spectrum as far as loud.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we have touched on these quiet, emotional films, but I can't really put my finger on one. Yeah,
that's a good point. I maybe point to an old one, Mass. Because I mean, less much less scope.
Feel more. Yeah, it did make you feel more.
Yeah, but
it is a thing. But I think
absolutely.
I think we've had other films in this type of genre that we've liked a little bit more.
And off the cuff, I'm thinking back to when we dipped a toe into Paris, Texas.
You dipped your toe.
Yeah. Very, heavily critically praised film.
Yeah.
Some people very much calling that like their favorite film of all time. And watching that, it was so reserved and so drawn back. I kind of had trouble finding the hype behind it. You know what I mean? Perhaps I would have a little bit of a greater appreciation here if I knew Joachim Trier's other projects a bit better. But for now, we'll have to settle for the performances within the movie, making it a standout come awards season. We're going to go ahead and give Sentimental Value a 66.
Okay, a 66%. I love that score, and exactly how you ended it is how I feel. These main actors, so Renate...
Reinsve, I think
Stellan Skarsgård, of course, who we know, and then Igna Lilias.
Yep.
No matter what, if I see their name pop up in a credit for an upcoming movie, I will get slightly excited.
Sure, yeah.
And for all three of them. And I think that does say something.
Yep.
And I really appreciated, actually, those two main actresses, too, because there is something I'm finding with European actresses that we don't see too much, or they do speak English, so they'll dip their toe in once in a while. I don't know. I'm forming a list where it's like they should just play more roles and get rid of some of these other people we have getting a lot of roles.
Yeah, for real.
I brought up I brought up Vicky Krieps the other day.
Oh yeah,
the same kind of deal.
Absolutely. And you kind of wonder, especially after all the buzz in her performances from Fandom Thread, it's like, where is she?
Right, like Viggo Mortensen picks her up.
Yeah.
For his little Western that he did last year, but like even we didn't even see the Western last year. And it's like, okay, she's one of the best actresses, it seems like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I put these two kind of in that vein. So, but anyway, so 66%. I have a question for you. How Norwegian? If you had to put a percentage of this is I don't know. It felt like a very Norwegian Scandinavian film to me.
Yes,
they have a vibe and they have a feeling. I put it at this is 60 to 75% Norwegian. This film, and that doesn't mean how many people are speaking the language. It just There's a vibe.
There's definitely a vibe. I feel like we joked about it because there's a scene on a beach where they're all just chilling on a beach. No one's going to the water because it's just a blustering northern winds, Bering Sea winds or whatever. But I think that's a good proportion.
Even the quietness of it.
What
was that A24 movie, Sheep or something like that?
Oh, Lamb.
That one with the goat? Yeah, okay, the lamb. Lamb.
Yeah, that's definitely got the same vibes. I think I'll admit it and be perfectly honest about it. I did have to look up what's the difference between Norwegian and Swedish, and it's basically like Dutch influences to it. So I did not know the difference.
Just say Scandinavian, it's safe.
Yeah, exactly. It's the catch-all.
But how Scandi is the film percentage wise?
I like that 70%.
Yeah,
sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right.
And then it's 30% shitting on Netflix. this movie takes some pot shots at Netflix.
And they use proper Netflix branding, too, a little bit at one point.
How did this happen?
That's the movie ended, and I was like, so this was just like... But this shit on the studio Netflix?
Yep.
What's the deal? Kind of timely. Okay, a Sentimental Value was 66%. You can find it on, like I said, maybe some theaters near you, but you can rent it on Amazon right now if you're interested. Mm-hmm. Okay, before we get to our last film, the one that technically just kind of came out a couple days ago, we're going to go ahead and get into our producer segment because we do have a producer for today, Vin, to give a big thanks to. So our boy, Matt D., is writing in, sending us a Space Odyssey donation.
Back again.
As he often does. So Matt D writes in as well. His producer note says this. He goes, wow, I just want to say how huge the Good Time score is. We'll have to check with the statistician, but a 27-point jump has to be the biggest adjustment ever.
It really might be. It really might be.
It is big. Well,
you called it out immediately.
I'm actually glad he brought this up because even I was thinking about it again after we recorded the episode, and I was like, holy shit, he did bump that up a decent amount of time. Like Good Time, what'd you give it? A 60?
67.
67?
Yep.
That's a good movie for that film.
Yeah.
So
definitely a flip to the other side of the coin.
That is kind of a huge score, Matt. He's completely right. This may be the highest-rated anxiety-inducing film on the site, making it a must-watch for those that like this sort of film. He's always regrading.
He really is.
He's always loving it.
But I like that because we always say, like, measure your own tastes off the podcast.
And I'm a stats guy, so however you want to... kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of it. And then Matt writes, maybe these need a group on the site.
Okay.
There he goes. For those that do like them, I recommend a film called Krisha, Trey Edward Schultz's debut film.
Oh.
I don't know anything about this movie.
I don't know anything about the movie. I believe Trey Edward Schultz is who we touched on earlier this year with Hurry Up for Tomorrow. Unfortunately, a bad movie, but stylistically very cool. That was the Weekend one where he's like... some bad acting, but Trey Edward Schultz is a name to keep an eye on. You know, unfortunately, Hurry Up Tomorrow was like an outlier.
Probably won't get the Keep an Eye Out award next week, but I see what you're saying.
Plug, nice.
Matt also says, a lot of talk about Dumpuary being a bad time for new movies. So I figured I'd shout out some films releasing in Dumpuary that I'm actually looking forward to for one reason or another.
Okay.
So Matt writes, so his list is 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple.
Sure.
Which is, I can't believe that's coming out that quickly, but it is.
Or even, not to derail already, but like, why would they choose Dumpuary for that? You know, it feels like even Sony's skin in the game on making this a trilogy or however many movies it's going to be. Like, why January?
Well, I do say because sometimes the films that do the best in these are horror films. We have seen it with some Blumhouse stuff. Maybe that has to do with it. Maybe it's how quickly they want to come back and do the third one as well. Yeah. Which I'm not sure what the title is. Couldn't figure that out myself. A little surprising. But hey, we're happy to have the year kind of filled out. You know?
yeah, absolutely.
We're in it for 12 months, Vin. Okay? We're not just 4. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Good luck, have fun, don't die.
Yeah.
Which does kind of seem like a fun film.
Yep.
How to Make a Killing. I believe that's the one with
Glenn Powell
and Sweetheart coming up.
Margaret
Qualley.
Yep.
Return to Silent Hill. Film called Send Help. The Sheep Detectives. Have not heard of that.
Haven't heard Sheep Detectives. Send Help is the Sam Raimi movie. The one, the Desert Island one. Weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
It looks kind of campy and fun, at least.
I don't think it looks that good, but I'm pushing for it.
Yeah.
Because I like everyone involved.
Yeah.
Including even the main actor that no one really thinks about often.
Sure.
I like that guy.
Yeah. And if anyone's going to have, like, an unexpected hit, I think it's Sam Raimi. I mean, that's the same way I think about, like, Drag Me to Hell, where it's like, this movie does not look like it's going to be good, and it actually is, like, really good.
Well, I will say even, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. The lovely, beautiful... Wedding Crashers.
McAdams?
No? Rachel McAdams.
Yes.
I think she could pull box office tickets herself.
Yeah.
I do think she herself is a draw these days.
Absolutely.
So much so we could remember her name almost.
Nice.
So he goes, Send Help, The Sheep Detectives, Wuthering Heights, All You Need Is Kill, which I'm not sure about, and Arco, which again, not sure about.
Arco, I believe, is an animated project. All You Need Is Kill is related to Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, this is the one you were... Okay.
Yeah.
We were talking before that we recorded, folks.
Yeah, we're kind of planning out some of the episodes. Edge of Tomorrow, going back with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, a pretty awesome sci-fi action film. Related is the source material, which is a manga, and now All You Need Is Kill is a anime adaptation of that same manga. So I don't know how similar the stories are going to be, but very excited to cover both and also circle back for Edge of Tomorrow because I feel like that's just like a fun movie to watch.
I'm very excited for that one.
Yeah.
As Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. Actually, yeah, that's going to be a good episode. And I have to say, Matt's completely right here. I don't want to give... Now, in 2 weeks, we are going down the list of 2026 films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we don't have to get into it too much. We're going to spend a whole episode on it. Wuthering Heights, you 4 months ago, we were in the movie theater.
Weird shout out for me.
You leaned over and you're like, it kind of looks pretty good. Like, I'm kind of excited for it. And I was like, what are you talking about?
I hate this hypothetical voice you give me sometimes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pretty good. We also
That's how I hear it in my mind.
we had this voice come out after we saw Caught Stealing, and you were just like, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I do it for me too.
Yeah.
That is I will do that. Okay, yes, I will do that voice for me as well. But anyway, so Wuthering Heights, I was like, no way. And Emerald Fennel, I don't know. I think she's overhyped.
Yeah,
even you kind of think that a little bit with Saltburn.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
really,
even me sitting here right now, I'm pretty excited. And here's my main. First of all, it seems like it's filmed really well. It actually, you have major actors in there. It's based on source material. And then looking into it, here was my big thing. I believe that is February 13th. So it's a Valentine's Day release.
Prime release.
So just even thinking about 2025 to 26. Vin and I, folks, are not too hot on 25. But even to the point of me saying 26 looks pretty good. In 2025, a film called Love Hurts came out.
for Valentine's Day.
That was the big Valentine's Day release. We saw it. Listen, I like Kihei Kwan, whatever. Not a great film.
Yeah.
We now have an auteur in Emerald Fennel.
Yeah.
Who's been getting a lot of praise more and more. It's Warner Bros. Pictures. It's got an $80 million budget. It's got 2 main actors on it. It's shot in VistaVision.
Yeah.
And I was like, we get a VistaVision, sexy, large acting.
Absolutely.
Not a no-name director coming out for February 14th?
Absolutely. Not to mention 2 romantic leads that probably anyone on planet Earth would want to see bang. You know what I mean?
It's wild. It's already. You look at that statistic alone, I'm like 2026 is looking great.
Yeah, a lot better.
It's looking like a very hard 2026. Okay, let's... Matt, we thank you. So, what is this? We have more options than just bad horror and action films, he says.
Yeah.
Well, we basically agree with you. We completely agree with you.
100% agree. I think, if anything, your point about Love Hurts with Ki Kwan is a perfect example of just there's good real estate here for Valentine's Day weekend.
Yep.
And it's this is what we get?
I know.
What?
I know.
The other one we didn't cover, it was a horror film called Hard Eyes.
Right.
Which was like a Scream ripoff, you know? So.
That's what I'm saying. We're looking okay for 2026.
We're looking
Matt,
all right.
You're totally right, and we're excited about it as well. Can't wait to go through all those films kind of month by month in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And Matt, as always, man, we appreciate you donating in your Space Odyssey donation. You're an executive producer of episode 220. If anybody listening out there, you either know what the deal is or if you're new to the daily ratings, this is our producer thanks, our producer shout out, because Vin and I, we're not going to do any advertising here and have a bunch of commercials. We're not going to have paywalls or payment tier structures where you have to give us a certain amount of money to get bonus content or anything like that. We are completely producer supported. We are listener supported at the daily ratings. So if you're enjoying yourself here listening to the podcast or checking out the website and using it, if you're finding it valuable, can you send us some value back? So head to thedailyratings.com and go to the donations tab. And we are completely monetary supported through those listening and through those sending in donations. When you send in a donation, you become an actual actual, legitimate producer of the Daily Ratings. Because just like in Hollywood, when you financially support a project, you are a producer of the project. And so that's how we're doing it here. Are you finding what we're doing valuable? Then can you send some value back? It's value for value. That's the model we're going on. So when you go to that donations page, everything is set out there for you. There's some set donations like Space Odyssey donation, buy Vin a movie ticket, become a Godfather. There's also the big value for value button right there. So you click that and it's whatever amount that you want. Everybody's finances are different and everybody's finances are different week to week. So that's how we're setting it up this way. Your donation, big or small, $5, $50, $500, $5,000. It's really whatever you want, whatever amount of value you're getting. When you do send in that donation in, don't forget to send a producer note in, just like Matt did this episode. So you can email us at tom.vin@thedailyratings.com. That's our email address. And send in a producer note. This could be questions, comments, critiques, ask us anything, say anything, start a conversation, add to a conversation, whatever you want. We want to bring you into the conversation because, again, that's what being a producer is all about. So, again, head to thedailyratings.com, go to the donations tab. It's been another great year. For those of you coming on board in 2025, if you are enjoying yourself, it means the world to us. It really does. It helps us keep going. As slim as an operation that Vin and I tried to keep this, we absolutely do have upkeep. And not to mention that this isn't our full-time jobs. We put hours and hours and hours into this a week. We certainly love doing it and creating the daily ratings, but it's the producers that really help us keep going. So please become a producer today. Become a producer for next week's episode 221, the Big Tom Dailies, and head to thedailyratings.com. All right, Vin, let's head over to Park Chan-wook is the director who we covered earlier in the year with 2003's Old Boy.
Yeah.
And this one
is... The mind-twisting Old Boy.
This one is called No Other Choice. It's kind of been being talked about a little bit, and again, all these films have been, and that's why they're on the list for today to cover. This is the newest release now in theaters. It's getting a proper, much more wider release in a couple weeks, I believe. Mm-hmm. So right now, it might be by you. Otherwise, we're just kind of ahead of the game on this one.
Yeah.
So, No Other Choice, Park Chan-wook set it up. I did not get the chance to see it. How did you like it?
Well, it really, if things were kind of reshuffled with the release of this, I honestly would have loved to do a whole director study for Park Chan-wook on this. Back on the 200th episode, we of course spoke about how Old Boy is part of a thematic trilogy called the Vengeance Trilogy. But my interest is more in his recent work leading up to this new release. I've heard fantastic things about 2016's The Handmaiden, not to be confused with the viral Handmaid's Tale TV show. And even 2022's Decision to Leave sparked my interest. So there's a lot here that I would love to unpack with Park Chan-wook, but for now we'll have to settle with these, two films of his under the belt for 2025. And folks, we said it with The Brutalist last year, the release window for these movies. We said it early in the episode here. The release window is a nightmare when backed up against the end of the year. And I'm going to say that thank God the movie was leaked online. Otherwise, we probably would not have gotten to it. It would have been included in 2026 Tom Dailies or something like that.
And we truly you had hype for this one for like months now.
Yeah. I've heard great things. I love our lead actor, which I'll praise in just a second. But just this looked like a great Korean movie in the sense that it was a lot of things. I feel like Korean cinema is just like, it's a lot of genres. And we talked about this with Bong Joon-ho. Park Chan-wook really has that same quality. I feel like maybe from still being maybe slightly an amateur with all of Korean cinema, maybe that's just a quality of Korean cinema. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it has this fluid genre aspect.
And when it's shot well, because, I think that this movie looks really good from what I could tell and what I saw.
Yeah.
That just helps. That just adds and brings it to a certain gravitas, really, the film has.
Absolutely. That's certainly my biggest takeaway is that this movie is excellent looking. I mean, like a excellent looking film. But No Other Choice definitely does continue that trend of Korean cinema blending multiple genres, but mostly can be described as a crime-themed dark comedy. Really emphasis on dark comedy. We've talked a lot about movies kind of bleeding into dark comedy. We talked about that with the Yorgos Lanthimos episode, where it's just like, what else do you call these type of movies, besides dark comedy? This one, a little bit more direct in that dark comedy for both sides of that. What starts with an idyllic summer day with his family, Lee Byung-hung is thrusted into a world of unemployment, quickly spiraling into a crisis as his perfect life is threatened by an uncaring, evolving job market. Losing the momentum of the last 25 years working for the same paper factory, Lee now struggles to stand out among his peers, all equally affected by market influences, leaving his prospects no other choice. As much as he wants to have a stabilization to his life, Lee is hypocritical in his efforts, spending more time thinking about his competition than actually hunting jobs, and often contradicting his own actions with what comes out of his mouth. This twists his worldview into a reckless plan, though. Eliminate the competition before orchestrating his own opportunity to finally land on his feet. His biggest mistake, though, is ignoring the advantages right in front of him and falsely believing he as well has no other choice. I would say this story thread of killing your competition for a job might sound ridiculous, especially because it's really unclear a lot of the time how this will actually help him lock down his next role. It's really just like he's knee deep in the crime, and it's like, well, I don't know how this is actually a good roadmap to landing your job. This is kind of like a vestigial side of the plan. But that's exactly the absurdist tone that this film lives in. The sheer desperation to hold on to this life makes for a crisis that is relatable, but absurd enough that you can laugh at. And that's where I really, go into this, maybe not expecting a lot of substance on the crime side. At the same time, when I'm watching this movie, if you were looking for an interesting crime element to add stakes to the story, and frankly speaking, like I was, it's not really the focus here, mostly because not a single character is actually good at the crimes they commit. Everyone is bumbling. Everyone is like a total joke how they're getting across the finish line on this. And initially, I'll be honest, that frustrated me a tiny bit, especially when you expect certain aspects to come into play, mainly the investigation side, the crime side of this. But I think the movie does a good job with amping up its more slapstick, its ridiculous qualities as we slip further down the slope. It really is. That's where I say, lean into this is knowing it's a dark comedy first before even its crime flavor of that comedy.
I think going into it, knowing that too, can really help. This kind of brings me back again, with not seeing it. This brings me back to Caught Stealing from this summer, where it took me till halfway through the movie to be like, oh wait, Tom, don't take things seriously at all. Because at one point I was just like, this seems unrealistic. It's like, oh, it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's how this is. It's good to see that they're really leaning into the comedy aspect
Absolutely,
of it.
yeah. But I wouldn't fault someone being frustrated with this when it comes to that crime element. Because again, I kind of felt
you're trying
it for
to take
a
it
second.
seriously for a second.
Exactly.
Right.
Or even just logically, just how things would play out, not knowing, the Korean crime system or anything, But Lee Byung-hung, I don't really have major notes with this, but this is a name, if you don't recognize, I will give, what I always plug with him is a movie called I Saw the Devil, a phenomenal Korean film that I absolutely recommend checking out. Much more notable, though, and much more recognizable is his involvement in Squid Game. And I feel like that casting choice is pretty smart and it's pretty strategic when it comes to maybe a little bit of a gateway drug or a little bit of a hook to bring people into watching an international film that they might otherwise not.
It's a great point. Yep.
If you enjoy Lee's acting, he is excellent here. And I point to I Saw the Devil and some of his other acting work as, again, an actor that is fluid. The genres are fluid, he's fluid. And I feel like he juggles a lot of desperation here, a lot of panic, and all while having some sort of menacing aspect to it of just his goals are to cut out the competition in the job market. Folks, I have to say, though, I loved this movie for exclusively of how well the film was shot and edited, though. By far, the reason to check this out was for the filmmaking on display.
Wow, okay.
All over the movie, Park Chan-wook uses a lot of cross-dissolves to keep his characters in frame, while pairing them with symbolic imagery. And seriously, these were some of my favorite shots of the whole year. A nice early example, without spoilers, is a shot of Lee in the car doing his normal kind of spiraling in his unemployment, his internal panic attack. And as he looks out the car window, thinking of schemes and plans and whatnot, a leaf being devoured by ladybugs is slowly overlaid on his face, kind of to show that mental decay. Listen, don't get me wrong. We've all had Windows Movie Maker for the last 20 years now. My mind is not blown by a dissolve edit. You know what I mean? I get, it's not rocket science what he's doing here, but the specific imagery Wook uses throughout the film was consistently striking and dare I say poetic. Like the choices of how he blends it in arguments, in moments of reflection to kind of phase something in or to dissolve something in the edit really was really impressive. If anything, it made me want to have a full, real gritty crime story with the same aesthetics of this movie.
Oh, that would be, yeah.
I wanted prisoners. I always go to prisoners.
I know. That's right.
I wanted prisoners with these cross dissolves. You know what I mean? It was really great.
Well, it just sounds like the fluidity of the film is something that just felt so good and effortless, and that you were along for the ride with. And I guess shout out to the cinematographer as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not surprised by the little I saw of this film.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not surprised that is something that sticks with you even after the film is over.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot like Train Dreams, even. Just some tricks using the camera work that.
Well, how about a lot like Parasite? It sounds like Parasite has a fluidity and just a beautifulness to it. You saying that almost the filmography is, or not the filmography, but the directing. Mm-hmm. Can be poetry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get that from Parasite a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's something, there's a visual poetry to it of just like what's being compared against or what's being put side by side.
Yeah. And fluidity. I just say fluidity again because, like you said, just the absolute kind of just genre swapping that those films do and Korean films can do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's also a minor note, but I really liked how phones and tech were used throughout the film, especially FaceTime calls. A lot of the time for FaceTime calls, they lock the camera to the device itself instead of the person. It just creates a very satisfying sway to how the scene is shifting around. And a lot of the times the camera work, that's where Train Dreams came to mind of just like different things they were strapping the camera to, whether it would be like a falling tree or like a tool or something like that. Same kind of aspect here. Phones, tech, different things like that. It's just these type of shots I found this year excite me because they're fresh. They may ultimately be a gimmick in a few years down the road where camera tech advances and, God knows how small it can be or attaching it to different things. It's the same note of like what we talk about with like challengers of like the tennis ball camera or what we wanted in Marty Supreme. We wanted a ping pong ball camera. You know what I mean? These type of... they very well may be gimmicks in a few years, but they excite me when I see them on screen.
I think what it is just tasteful additions. I always think back to Robert Eggers, who did Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 different interviews I heard him talking about cinematography or just camera shots. And he agonizes about never you wanting to think about it, but it always wanting to be extremely good and clever and being a part of it, but without you being taken out of the film. And he talks about other movies that will be creative just because they can be, or they'll do a shot just to do a cool shot. And he goes, it's just like, it needs to be worth it. I think about the movie that came out last year on Netflix, and it was that End of the World movie. Ethan Hawke was in it.
Oh, yeah.
You remember, it came out on Netflix, was kind of a big deal. I forget the name. Regardless, there was a lot of very loud camera shots and movement in that film, and it took you out of it. To Robert Eggers' point, it was just like, I want to be good, basically, but I always want it to be extremely fitting and only fit it. And that's what you're telling me that this is what this is. I don't care if they're gimmicks or not. I don't care how old of tricks they are or how new of tricks they are. Are they done well? And that's all you're saying, basically.
I think for 2025, the line there, Train Dreams and this movie specifically, is that they don't overdo those type of shots. You know, it's maybe even to the point of it's a one-off, and then we move on.
Yes.
So it can kind of shine on its own, and, you're not really like expecting when the next one comes.
And it's something that fits to the mood of the film. I could say with Train Dreams, at least, there's something fitting with it. There is something where like this is quaint and fits this small movie.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But the film, I would say, no other choice, more than a little slapstick and silly than I expected. It's definitely a little bizarre in the way I should have expected from our director. It's nowhere as dark as Old Boy, so you can thankfully maybe even show the family this one. Actually, going back to Matt D's producer note from that episode.
Yeah, he gave it to a buddy and then he watched it with his family.
Which is so outlandish when you know what the story of Old Boy goes for. It's like, wow. But I would say even in its darkest moments, it's still oddly charming. I feel like this is almost a family watch, not really, but its charm can get you across the finish line on that one.
I bet it can.
I more than anything, though, I think the comedy works because of just how terrible everyone is at crime. This slapstick element to it, and slightly reminds me of a Coen Brothers project in a lot of ways.
But just not a specific Coen Brothers, just a specific...
a type of Coen Brothers energy to the film.
Yes.
In that, yes, it's crime, but kind of everyone's bad at crime in some fashion, It's absolutely a recommendation because I think it was one of the best looking films of the year and for sure worthy of making it to your personal Korean film shortlist whenever you can get around to watching it. We're going to go ahead and give No Other Choice an 80 on the dot.
An 80%, Vin?
80 on the dot.
Oh, my God. Hey, our last film of the year.
Yeah.
Thank God. Wow.
Sweet. Yeah.
80%. I'll tell you what, Vin, that is higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm dying to see it now.
And listen, I would, if the comedy, or if, again, like myself, craving more of a crime element to it, I feel like there was potential for this to be even higher. But I cannot see this below an 80 for just how good this looked.
Wow.
And just
the acting, like you like the main guy.
Yeah, exactly. Just like so much of the film was inventive, and it felt very unique to the Korean job market, or the job market in general. It was just like this was a great watch, really a great watch.
Well, I'm pumped now. And like I said, it just came out in theaters, in very select theaters. So, if it does get that wider release, which they say it is, I can't wait to go see this on a big screen and with good sound.
And it really does deserve that.
Yeah. Oh, excellent, Vin. Wow, 80% for No Other Choice, folks. Now, obviously it's Korean film, so it is subtitles. If that bothers you, just beware of that. But no matter what, too, whether you even don't want to go spend a movie ticket on it, it definitely will be available for streaming at some point, probably within the next 2-3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to rent it for a movie night. But I can't wait to go see this in theaters, and considering we have, January coming up and things like that, that's exciting.
Yeah. I think that's a great point because, like, if I'm this hot on the visuals of the film and the camera work and the editing, and this is a online rip I'm watching,
that's so true.
You know what I mean? I might have even been hotter if I saw it in theaters.
I'll tell you what, this is awesome. I cannot wait to see that. And there is a movie that. Is this anything? Oh, first of all, by the way, based on a book, and this was.
I didn't catch that.
I think it was a French book. But regardless, it was done. So the book was called The Axe, I believe it's called.
Okay, shooting title.
Okay, yeah, called The Axe by an American guy. Was done in a film. So this was a French film called The Axe.
Oh, wow.
I think in like 2003 or something like that.
Interesting.
So if we wanted, if we had the runway for it at some point, we can go back and check out The Axe.
Yeah.
Any vibes? I'm getting kind of compilation ideas now that we have we have the original The Axe. We have No Other Choice. Somewhat similar to Falling Down.
Oh,
1993 movie.
Definitely unemployment core.
Yes.
That is angry and unemployed. That's probably the compilation right there.
Tyler Perry is coming out with a film this year that apparently is similar to Falling Down as well.
Oh, wow.
Or in the same vein of it.
Interesting. Falling Down's a crazy movie. That's a wild movie.
That's he's trying to get to work and goes on a killing spree or something like that?
Yeah. And it's just like bad day. Like it's kind of a trashy movie, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. I think that's Schumacher, I want to say, on directing. But as far as like my comparison to Coen Brothers, I compare this somewhere in the, if you will, the idiocy of Burn After Reading, where it's just like,
That's what it sounds like.
Everyone's just a fool.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Or in some way, like bumbling,
Yeah.
you know? But,
Excellent. 80% for No Other Choice. Hey, we ended 2025 right there.
That's it.
It's fantastic. man.
Close the book on it.
Fantastic. Looking at these scores, anything to add on? Notes next week, coming up, roll credits? What do you want to do?
Listen, folks, tune in for the Tom Dailies, only award show that matters.
Yes, it is.
But no, super excited, like genuinely very excited. And just to, even talk about the year and whatnot. I feel like this was an interesting year in the sense that we've talked about already that like quality is kind of low on overall the batting average of the movies. I do feel like that kind of makes an oddly interesting run for what's actually getting awards for next week.
Well, and I want to talk, we cover so much that oftentimes, the week is over and it's on to the next one.
Sure.
Because we keep it going. You have to understand how many old films we covered and how many, we covered a lot of films that got into the high 70s and 80s this year.
Yeah.
So in a way, it was a very good year for the podcast, even though 2025 year of films might have been a little bit slumped. But we cover so much, I'm excited just to go through it.
Yeah.
And it's always a blast to sit down with a cocktail or two with you.
Yeah, right,
and I think
tie a load on.
I think everybody who listens enjoys the show too. We're very, very excited for next week's show, folks. Like I said, we've already been putting work into it for the past few weeks. Vin, thank you so much for watching these films and stopping by here tonight to give us the lowdown on these. Folks at home will run it down one more time. We have Nuremberg with a 53%, a Sentimental Value with a 66%, and No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook with an 80%. Folks, another great year. We're excited for next week. And so we'll be right back here next Thursday on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. And just a reminder that the Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.